Hey amigos, how's it going? Hope you're all doing well. Hope you're having a great cheeky Friday. Today we got ourselves Loco Moco, which is a Hawaiian dish, and you're gonna be like, what consists of that then? So pretty much it's rice, burger patty, gravy, and fried egg on top. But I'm gonna do a few little twists and turns of my own. So obviously the rice, I'm going to do some a nice little bean mix with some red kidney beans. We're going to mix that through the rice with some spices and flavors. Not going too spicy or too crazy with this. In addition, we're going to have some nice asparagus, so just boiled and then cooked off with maybe just finished off, sorry, with a little bit of salt and lemon juice to go underneath on the bowl. So the rice on top of that, then we've got the burger patty, and then we've got the fried egg, and oh wait, the gravy in between as well. Gravy on top of the burger patty, and then finished off with the egg. Pretty straightforward. It's a very nice dish, so I hope you guys and gals are going to enjoy it. So I'll type up this recipe tonight. It will be on my website, chefjohnreed.com, so feel free to go check it out later on tonight. So we're probably going to start on the bean mix. So this is my own twist and turn with it. Now traditionally they just usually have the rice, burger patty, gravy and egg, and that's pretty much it. Obviously people like to do some variations. I'm going to do my variation for today. So obviously with the asparagus and the beans mixed through the rice. Let's start on the bean mix. So we're going to need 1 onion. We're going to peel and dice, not slice. Obviously you're gonna get about 4 cloves of garlic, and we're gonna peel them and grate them, and a little bit of dried thyme, but I've got some fresh thyme to use it, but for the recipe just use dried thyme. So let's get that out now. We need some garlic. Some of these are like really small, so I might need to use 5 instead of 4, but 4 medium-sized garlic cloves will be fine. It's top and tail. Right, let's cut this down. So we basically want to cut this down horizontally, so keeping the root intact, and then vertically. And then what we're going to do, once we cut those lines down there, is pretty much just cut it across, and then you get a nice little cheeky dice right there. So that's all you need to do for the onions. And then when you get to the end, just do exactly the same, and you can just dice it up again. So here you go. Just cut it down into little 3, and then like 3 again, or 2, whichever, and then just dice it. Easy peasy, right? Right, so we're going to take the skins off the the garlic, shall I say, and then we're going to grate this down. Let's give this a grate down. But it's okay, it's a DIY job. Right, a little bit of thyme. So for the recipe, we'll probably put 1 teaspoon of dried thyme in here, so nothing too complex. I've got some spare dried, well, actually it is dried, but fresh thyme. It's not very fresh. So I'm going to use some of this instead. But yeah, you can use the dried thyme instead for the recipe. We're going to get ourselves a medium-sized pan. We're going to put it onto the stove with a tablespoon of veggie oil. All right, so put this onto a medium heat. So I want about a tablespoon of veggie oil. Onions are in, garlic, thyme. Cook that around for about 2-3 minutes till they softened up. Then we're going to add the beans and the spices, or vice versa, whichever is easiest. We'll get the spices out first, I think. 2 teaspoons of paprika. So this is normal. You could use smoked if you want a bit of smokiness in there, but I'm going for plain. A teaspoon of cumin, and then about a teaspoon of black pepper as well. So open up those can of red kidney beans. So let's chuck that straight in. And then in addition, what you want to do, grab yourself about 300 ml of water. So I've gone about 2/3 of the way up on the can. So let's give this a mix first. And then we're just going to top this up with some water, and then we're going to turn it down to a low heat, so about 200-300 ml of water. That looks like a lot of water. You were like, whoa, that looks really slushy. Don't worry, by the time this cooks down and softens up, that liquid will evaporate and you'll be left with a perfect mixture. So just turn this down to a low heat, just let that cook down for about an hour, and then that should be good. And we're going to season it later on, just about a pinch of salt or whatever, but taste it first before seasoning it. I'm going to start with the patties next. So we're going to start making the burger patties, so we'll do that next. Let's pop this straight into the bowl. Clunk. 2 tablespoons of Worcestershire sauce. In addition, we want 1 tablespoon of mustard. Just give this a shake as well. Sometimes you're left with that liquid and you don't want that going in there. So just give it a shake. There we go. Salt, pepper, and obviously we need 1 egg to help bind it as well. So 1 egg straight in. So 2 pinches of salt and 1 teaspoon of black pepper. And what we're going to do is just get our hands in there, mix it up. And you're like, where's the breadcrumbs, chef? Don't need them. Unless you've got like really like kind of wet mix, you're not gonna need it. I find breadcrumbs an obsolete kind of thing. So people mix it, right? Mix it for about 30 seconds, then they're like, oh, it's too wet, it needs breadcrumbs. Absolutely not, keep mixing it. Just keep mixing it. Why? The reason for it is because that wetness will actually eventually just get absorbed into the meat and it'll start binding together, and then you'll get to a nice consistency. And then you just won't need breadcrumbs. Now, if it was like really sloppy and wet, and you'd be mixing for about 5-10 minutes, it's not going anywhere, then I'd probably say, yeah, you might need a little touch of breadcrumbs. But honestly, when it comes to burgers and patty, you don't need to add it. Just gonna line the plate with a little bit of parchment for these patties. Now you should get 4 good-sized patties out of this. I'll leave that out because I'm gonna need to put some more on top when we put it in the fridge. So just pretty much cut it into 4. If you want to weigh it out, you can weigh it out if you want to, but I'm not going to go to those extreme lengths. I'm just going to quarter it by hand. Now, I'm using a bit more meat than per usual, so these might be a little bit bigger than normal. But for the recipe, there should be a little bit more of a less amount. But you should get 4 good-sized patties out of it. Could probably even get more out of this, to be fair, but we'll see. And obviously, depending on how thick you want these patties. But yeah. So, as I said, yours will probably be a little smaller than this. I'm using a little bit more extra meat than per usual for the recipe, but that's fine. So we're going to put our pan on there, and I want about 50 grams, which is roughly about half a stick of butter. Right, so we're going to put the butter in here. I'm going to melt this down. Once this is melted down, then we're going to add the 70 grams of flour to there. You can weigh it out. I'm going to do it by eye, but obviously for the recipe, you can weigh it if you need to. The butter's melted down. I'm going to add about roughly 70 grams of flour. So you should have a nice like kind of sandy roux kind of consistency. So you shouldn't have any like loose flour in there, but it should be all like kind of bound together with that flour there. And we're going to cook this roux out for roughly about 2 minutes, just to kind of cook out that flour a little bit. While we're doing that, we're going to get 2 teaspoons of Marmite as well. Right, so 2 teaspoons of Marmite, because I'm a British chap. Got to have Marmite in gravy. It's the way forward. Beautiful. All right, let's give this a little mix around. Perfect. And if you're wondering like how much water you're going to need, chef, so probably roughly about 700 ml, just enough until you got the right consistency, pretty much. So, or if you want to use chicken stock, that's fine. This is a quick way of making a quick gravy. Roux, Marmite, water. It's dead simple, dead easy. You could also use, like, say for example, if you're cooking vegetables off, use the water from the vegetables after you've cooked with them and use that instead. But water is absolutely fine to use if you need to. So just going to add the water little by little. Don't go too crazy. If you add too much water, what could potentially happen is you'll end up with a very lumpy kind of gravy. So just do little by little so the flour and the roux, actually absorbs the liquid bit by bit. Right, so look at that, we're ready. I've already made a quick and easy gravy. So if some people think, oh, gravy takes so long to make, it just takes hours and hours. How long does that take me? 10 minutes, we've already got gravy. Look at that, easy. This is a very quick and simple. Yeah, you could use chicken stock. Yeah, you could like add more flavor to it. But if you want a simple, straightforward gravy, this is it. Quick and easy gravy, done in no time. Gravy, rice. So on 250 gram. I usually do a 2.5 ratio to my rice. So basically, if I do 250 grams of rice, I times that by 2.5. So we'll actually need 625, right? Yeah, 625 ml of water. So if I did 100, then I'd be doing 250 ml of water, if that makes sense. So 625 ml of water. And in addition, we want a good pinch of salt in there as well. Don't want to go too crazy on the salt because we're going to have like the salt in the beans as well. 1 pinch will be fine. Lid on. And we're going to put the rice on the back. Start off with a high heat. Once it starts to simmer, turn it down. And then you want to start the timer for about 10 minutes. Once the 10 minutes are up, might help if I put the right one on, sorry. Once the 10 minutes are up, you want to take it off the stove. Do not remove the lid. Just leave it to steam for about 10 minutes and then you should have your perfect rice complete. Also, I do want a pan on as well for some water, so maybe get a second pan of water on now for that asparagus. Right, so we need to take off the tough bits. And the only way you can find out is usually by breaking or snapping them. So they usually snap where the tough bits are. So just by bending them, and then that gives you an indication. So we're just going to cut them roughly all about there, because otherwise you're going to be there all day snapping them. So I usually use that as a guidance to give you an idea of like where the tough bits are. So I'm going to cut it from there. I guess we can start char grilling the burgers. We can start getting them ready. So I'm going to set that aside. We get our char griller out. Right, let's put this on here. Right, so these burger patties should be about there now. Let's get the egg out, start frying that up. Start mixing the rice and the beans together. So the rice, as you can see, perfectly cooked, no more water in there. Look at that. No liquid whatsoever, and it's nice, soft, fluffy. It's ready to go. That's how you should have rice. Perfection, right? So those beautiful beans we got there. Just gonna have a little taste in a second, but I'm gonna actually mix them through and then taste the rice. So, sorry, I'm trying to shift this over so you can see what I'm doing. So I'm gonna pour the beans into the rice. So those are done, they're ready to go. I'm just going to give that a nice little mix. So there we go. Rice and beans, ready to go. It's asparagus. And you can put butter over it if you want to put a bit of butter. I'm just going to put some lemon juice and some salt, nothing too complex. Beans first. Watch my egg. Making a mess already. I'm going to put the asparagus underneath. But yeah, I would have liked the asparagus to be on the bottom, but it's okay. That beautiful gravy chat. It's easy to make gravy. There's our Moco Loco, so with my own little twist on it. So very straightforward. We actually made some spicy beans with red kidney beans, so onions, garlic, thyme, paprika, cumin, and a touch of pepper and salt. Mixed it with the nice light fluffy rice that we cooked off to perfection. And then we made our homemade patties, char grilled them off on a cast iron pan, and then obviously the fried egg. And then just, I thought would be a nice addition, or my twist, with asparagus, with the lemon juice, because you've got all the fat and richness to cut right through it, would be the lemon juice. Have a great weekend, stay safe, and I will see you on Tuesday, if not Monday, for some YouTube content. But